Hello everyone, Ebba here. Look at me, I got stuff. I know. This is not what I was planning on doing, but it's not the journal. It isn't the box. It's something completely different because I haven't got the printer stuff yet, so I can't print. So what I decided to do is I have all these dies with me, and I have my Big Shot um, die cutter, and I thought I've got my scoreboard. And these are things I could find. I didn't find my zip cutter, so I'm not sure where it's landed. It's probably in a box under the motorhome somewhere. Um, but I dug out things and I went through all my dies and I wanted to use one that I've never used before to make a card. And I found this really cool. I don't, let me see if I can get it. Give me the black sheet. Come on, black sheet. There we go. Train. Look at that. It is so cool. It is a train. And and I thought, okay, I can do this. I can do some piecework doing it. I want to use I have this set of dies and I've never used this. I used this one, which is a flower one, once, way a long time ago. But I got these I used to belong to the Spellbinder and stuff until shipping got ridiculous and out of whack. And I used to get the large die of the month and the small die of the month, and sometimes I would be getting the stamp of the month type of thing. But I love getting the dies. And this was a set that came out in 2021, April 2021. And this was part of the set. And I thought, I can take this and the card stock will be the white, the card itself. The card base will be white. So I can take this and do a 5x7, I think, and just, fold the cardstock in half, score it in quarters, and do that. And then lay this on the edge and do an edge. And to me, it's got a sort of a railroad track look to it. And then put the train on. Now, the train does have a track, so I don't have to worry about that. But put the train on, maybe coming in from the edge of the, 5x7. So it'll be maybe there on the thing. But yeah, and then do some piecework in the train. So I want to cut the train. Let me set that over there. So that'll be the card stock, the white card stock will be for the card base, because I also don't know where my card bases are. I have them somewhere under the house. But and then I think there's clouds here, so I can use white and put it for the cloud. Um, but I'll cut the train out of the black, out of the yellow, and then I can use it to piece in things like the headlight, maybe down here, just accent pieces. Um, yep, yellow. The gray, this kind of gray is going to be for the smoke that's up here. The sky I thought would look really cool using this marble paper. Now I'll have to move it around and say, where do you really want this? Because there's various things and they will give a kind of a different look to it. And I could use it instead of the cloud, like, that kind of thing. But there isn't a lot of sky actually showing in here. So there won't be a lot, but I have to use the whole thing and cut with the whole thing because it's one piece. It's a one piece thing. And it actually has a nice frame around it. So you've got this individual piece in here and the frame. Now I can take the frame off and just be doing the individual pieces. Or I can leave the frame on and do it that way. Then I thought for trees, this might be cool. I mean, it can go any way you want it to, but I also have a plain green. And there is some plain ground down here. So the plain green can be either there, or I could turn it and do one this way, one this way. But I thought for the trees, I would do it this way. The nice thing about this die is it's in a clear package. So I don't have to take it out of the package. I just can put it and move it around to where I like the look behind. So if I like the look of, say, this little grouping, look at the trees and you can see how it would stripe if I cut it there, how this would work if I cut it there, kind of thing. And then I can also cut it out of the green, and I can use some of the green maybe for trees to push the trees back. They would be plain and they would be pushed back, and then some for in the front here. So that's what I'm going to do. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to shut the camera off again, and I'm going to go and do all the cutting and everything. I won't do the gluing, of course, but I'm going to do all the cutting and all that work. There's cutting, scoring, everything I want to do, and then come back. Now I also was thinking, I have two things over here that I may or may not use. They're just sort of set to the side. So I may use this twisted cord, and I was thinking of running it along, once this is in place, running it along the edge to sort of separate the train scene from this sort of railroad look edge. But it'll cut an edge. This will be a cut edge on it. I don't know. And the other thing that I kept out was some rectangle die. It's like a whole set. Some rectangle dies that just in case I wanted to do something with the rectangles. Maybe cut out a section of something for something else, or do a, I don't know. I'm not sure at this point what that might be. But I thought I'll keep those out now. And this is just to show you that that's where the set came from. So it's a Spellbinders, an old set, 2021. So I'm like, if you've got dies that are old, it doesn't matter. They still make beautiful cards, whether they're 6 years old or 20 years old. They will still make a beautiful card for you, or journal, or anything, anything you want to work on. So I'm going to go now and do all this, and I will be back when I'm done and finish making the card. Bye for this time. Yeah, I'm back. Oh boy, was that a time and a half. I had to go find my cutting machine. Got that. That was okay. We had it. But then one of the plates was missing, and it was an important one. It was if you've got a big shot, it was the green one, which is for thinlits, and that's what this die is, a thinlit. So we had to find it. We did eventually. So Gary had to go outside and go underneath and look through pretty much every one of our container things outside. And on a Class A, that's a lot of container areas. So, yeah. So we had to go and do that. And I was just getting out all my parts. And then I ran it through the cutting die, and you'll notice that I only have done one cut. And that's because this is such an intricate die that, and it's very thin, and it's not like, it's an Luna Craft one from AliExpress that I ordered probably several years ago, because that's when I was kind of buying dies, when we were in the apartment, and I was kind of buying more dies. Anyway, so the parts didn't want to come out, and things didn't want to happen, and I thought, boy, if I try and do this more than once, it's never going to happen, because you can't leave parts sticking inside of a die if you've never cut with a die. If there's bits of paper left inside the die, those bits of paper will eventually stop your die from cutting properly at all, and you've got to take them out each time. Now, on the other thing, I don't know where my pokey tool is. Good thing I have long nails. They're chipped like heck today, but oh well. They're crafter's nails today. Anyway, so I had to use my nails, use a pencil, like a pencil with that you can click the lead out to get the lead a little bit longer to poke these things out. And I finally got most of it out, but not all. There's still a few small bits and pieces that are left in there that'll have to come out before I can use that die again. It is a beautiful die, and I mean, when you put it on the yellow, it's a really beautiful die. There's so much to it. Now what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to use a yellow behind it, and I'm going to try and piece in a few bits for the trees. I've got a couple of pieces, and for this piece down here. I'm making a, what do they call them, tent fold card, which I know I folded wrong, but I have no idea how I folded it wrong. And they basically, they go like this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue this, eventually go along the front here. I was going to try and use these, stack them and use them, but they're just too big. They push it back too far, and it doesn't want to stay standing up. So I'm going to put one of these along the edge. Now I could put one of these along just as a decoration and then just use this along the edge here. But I thought this will work because it's fairly sturdy and it's fairly thick, you know. You can just use cardboard or anything like cardstock, anything stacked, a picture, a strip. I do have, that I didn't bring them out, I do have strips that are they're pre-glued and they're, you know, they're shiny things on them and stuff. They're sort of like strips of ribbon, but I decided not to try and go digging for any more things. My eyesight today is not the best, and having all this trying to find things and worrying about can I find it and things like that hasn't helped. Every time I worry about something, the pressure goes up, and that just makes it harder to see. And it's really difficult to say, oh well, just let the pressure, don't worry. Yeah, your system does what it's going to do. Let me tell you that. Anyway, so I did eventually get things cut so that I can do something like this. Place the green in. Now this is going to have to be done. I'm going to have to glue from the other side and place a bit of green over on this side. I probably have that in wrong. It's probably supposed to be flipped. And then place this little bit, this strip down here. And that kind of gives it a different, you know, a better look, I think. It's very dry today, and my throat is very dry, and it's been that way all day. Anyway, yeah, so I thought that would work. Just doing a little bit of background piecing. I was going to do some up here, but it became a little bit much for me to try and cut, you know, a shape that could just be set, and I've got hardly anything to glue to, as you can see. So I have to work with kind of what I've got, because I can't go too far beyond where my pieces are laying with glue. So I've got a little bit to glue here that'll hold it in place. And thank goodness it's got these sort of little middle pieces that'll help to hold this. And on the trees, there's nothing in the middle. So I have to rely on whatever I can catch along this edge, the very edge of it, to kind of get it into place. And it's not going to be easy to get it to stay where I want it. And this one I've got to flip it over because I know it's in there wrong, but I think I'm just trying to figure out in which direction did I do. Oh yes, because this one I cut slightly wrong. So there's a little bit of an opening next to the train, and I'm not worrying about it. I didn't feel like trying to take another piece of green and trying to cut. My eyes are just not doing it today for me. So with this one I can wiggle it and I can get it. I noticed as I was taking parts out, there are some birds, a couple of birds in the sky. I'm not worrying about them either. And I don't know what this is. I'm not worrying about it. It's going to be green, whatever it is. So I'm going to try and do that, get my glue out, and then I can glue it down to here, and then we can put it onto the card. We're not worrying about a sentiment. As I've said in other videos that I've done, I don't normally do sentiments on my cards. I normally wait until I'm going to send the card, and then whatever it's for then is a sentiment. It becomes, you know, I'll pick the sentiment at that time. So I'm going to turn this over. I'm going to take this strip first, this green stripy strip. And these were tricky to do. I had thought about showing you how I went about it by cutting some smoke. um, and just showing you, you know, sort of what's involved with that. But it's basically you line the paper up, take your pencil, draw some lines, do a bit of cutting, cut bigger rather than smaller, so that you've got room to maneuver, and then just keep adjusting as you go. So I'm going to put some glue on. Now, I mean, this train can go either way. Eh? It can go from this direction, or it can go from this direction. I kind of like it going this way for some reason. So I'm going to turn mine over to this side. My glue is working really, really good, better than it should be. I've got glue coming out before I can even, I'm not squeezing the bottle at all. It is just working on its own, doing its thing, saying, oh, here, have some glue. And I'm going, wait, I haven't got there yet. I'm not ready. Ah. So I want to put this on to get the glue on. And I've told you the glue before, but for those of you who are new and perhaps new to crafting, this is probably the cheapest glue on the market other than Elmer's types of glue. And it's a really good crafting glue. It's called Aleene's. They came out in the 70s. I remember them in the 70s. And I remember using them back then and liking the glue. Um, I think my glue is having a hard time because it was winter and it probably froze at some point. Goodness. I mean, but I can't, I'll stand it in there and pretend. Um, so, no, green thing. So now I have to try and line this up, get that yellow out of there, because I've got way more glue than I need. Get this glue out of here. Cloth. And I got to line this up and try and line it up the way I wanted it. Turn it over. And that way I can see if it's the way I wanted it. Move you down. Put you in. I think that's it. Give it a little push. Wipe the glue off the table. Yeah, I didn't bring my glue mat over. It's got a bunch of things on it. Countertop things. Things we use on the countertop. And I said, oh, I don't feel like moving all that stuff. If you have a crafting room or a crafting space, even if it's small, and you have a crafting space, you have a place where you can put your stuff, and you know, even if you're moving and you're working on your table, if you're in a building, you're in a house, or in an apartment or something like that, it is way easier than it is trying to do it in a mobile unit like a motorhome, because you can't have your stuff in one place. You've got to put your stuff where it can be stored for traveling, for moving. And, well, that turned out pretty good. Awesome. Okay. I'm going to turn that over so it doesn't stick to the table and wreck it completely. I'll let that dry while I'm sitting here figuring out this other one. So this one needs to go here. See, this long stick goes down in here. So yeah, it is quite a bit more difficult to craft on the move, and doing a YouTube channel makes it even harder. But I really enjoy doing it, and that's why I do it. I sure ain't in this for the money, because there is none, and but I am in it for the enjoyment, and I'm really glad to be back crafting, because not crafting is hard for me. It's really hard on me. It's so funny because you know you never even think about it until you don't get to do it, and then you go, I miss something. Something is missing, and then you realize what it is, and yeah, it's really not easy. Oh, we got glue everywhere here. Oh my, this bottle. I'm telling you. No, no. I'm sorry. Sorry. I was trying to knock it down a little bit. Okay, now we're on trees. All right, we got tons of glue coming out. Okay, glue, glue, glue. Now we want to put glue around the trees here, and in between where the black is, so we can catch the trees up the side in the little ridges. you know, and it looks like there's a ton of glue there. There really isn't. I'm spreading it with the nose of the thing because otherwise I'd have way too much glue. But when you're crafting, I mean, if you've got a glue thing that's not going crazy on you like mine is, here, have more glue. No, please, no. Um, I think they go. Yeah, they go over here, right? Yes, these ones go here without the birds. Okay, don't glue the birds, and glue this part along the bottom. Try and catch that. But yeah, when you don't want to use a huge amount of glue. Getting those little really fine nozzles is really a good idea. I found them awfully expensive to buy on their own, and I mean it's great if you know get involved in something where you get it for nothing. But I have never done that, so um, I've never gotten one of them for nothing, and I don't like the price of the glue. I did use one of the glues, and it was no better than this, honestly. And there's the bear one. What it was it called? I don't know. Anyway, I didn't find it any better than this, and it's in Canada 10 times the price. So it's you know no, it's not even a question for me. I buy cheap. I am a cheap person, and I'm proud of it. Okay, glue in. Now we have to be able to shift. We have to be able to put and make sure that we're putting the right thing in the right place. And you're over too much and not up enough. Go up, go up. You don't push down until you got everything lined up and in place. As good as you can, and then you can push down. So then I like to kind of lay it down. Grab a. I'm using Kleenex today. Normally I would be using my wet wipes, but I don't know. They're somewhere. They're somewhere. Um, yeah. This is gonna have glue stuck around. Don't do that. Just leave the tree alone. I'm trying to take it out with my nails a little bit so we don't have clumps of glue. But this glue dries clear, so it's not going to be messy looking when you're done. It'll dry nice. And if you remember, there was a big white here, and now it's gone. Got some glue on the back here when I did laid it on the table. Oh dear. Anyway, that's number 2 on there, and number 3 goes here. Now, the reason I know this goes on this side is because it's got that little notch thing. See the little notch? Except I cut it too far. And I cut it and it was kind of, do I cut another piece? Nah. I mean, if you're doing a card and you want to, make sure that, it depends on who you're sending it to, right? If you're sending it to somebody, see how nice that's going to look? Um, you know, you'll want it to be more perfect than mine, but mine is right now for demonstration purposes. This won't be one that I sell probably. Um, Although you never know, somebody might see it and say, "Oh, I don't care. I'd like to buy it. I like it," because you don't know with people. So yeah, here we go. All right, glue. That goes glue. I need glue there. I need glue there. Yeah, I need it around the edges, on these tiny edges, so that my tree stays in place. So this green will stay in place until I can get it glued down. It's going to be glued to here, and so where'd my green go? Oops. Okay, get you turned over and get you in place. Working nice. Working nice. Here we are. Up. Over a bit. Come on. There we go. Not that much. sometimes it's hard for me to see if there's white, like the glue, um, because I'm working on a white table as well, or beige. It's hard for me to see where the hole is, where the holes are. But as long as I can sort of catch it. There. All right. So if I was going to show you how to do the smoke, I would take this piece of cardstock. Now this cardstock is ancient. I have no idea where it came from. It probably came in a package that I got from Value Village, frankly. Um, all right, so I want it this wide. So that's what I do. I go, okay, I need it that wide. Cut it a little wider because, well, because. And then I want it, you know, it needs some depth. I know that. But it doesn't need a huge amount, and I know that too. So then, if I pop it in like that, I have smoke. You see? And then you just have to kind of adjust it. Now, it's hanging down here into this bird. The tree is actually sitting over into the bird too. Um, and you know what? I don't know that anybody would actually notice that. But, I mean, if it bothers you, don't do it. You know, like me, I have to kind of look at the world differently now and look at the way that I used, from what I used to be like crafting. I was always so fussy because I could see. I could actually see what I was doing. And it was wonderful to be able to see what I was doing. Now I can't. They were talking about bumping up my operation if they can. I know the doctor would love to be able to just say you're going in tomorrow, but he doesn't have that choice, which is too bad, but it is the way it is. Um, so I think there is kind of a good place to cut it. A little higher, or a little shorter. There. So what I'm going to do is I don't feel like pulling out a pencil, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to pick this up, and I'm going to try and cut a more or less straight line. If I get the thing up close enough to my eyes, I might even be able to. You never know. Okay. How's that look? Well, that looks not too bad, eh? Yeah, that looks not too bad. This is sticking up over it, so I'm gonna even that a little bit. It's a little wobbly, but you know, so am I. A little wobbly there. All right, get that out of the way. Okay, this is exactly how I do this kind of thing, though. If you're gonna piece stuff, I mean, you know, this is what I do. Um, you may have a completely different way of doing it. You know, if you're a crafter and you've been working for years and stuff, but this is what I do. And then I just, you know, put it in place. I mean, now, this is going to go into this cloud. I don't really mind. Jeez. Oh, this thing, I'm telling you. Then it's like, oh, do you want more glue? Oh, no, no. I don't know how far down this comes, but I'm going to put a little glue on this green thing because that gives it glue there. And we've got these spots and this spot to glue up, and then across this little tiny bit there, and we've got way more glue than we need, but blaming the glue gun because, or the glue bottle, because it just doesn't want to stop. I can't even get it open. I think it's glued itself shut. Oh, getting it open. I get it open, it might suck down again. Come on, suck back. Oh, yeah. Okay, I'm going to stand it up on its bum. Oh dear. Okay, let's get this in place. No, no. Let's get you in place. Okay. Kleenex. I had thought, what color could I use for the train? I mean, black would be ideal, except I cut it out of black, so it wouldn't show up. If I cut it out of something else, then all of the lines would have been whatever that else was. And so if I'd cut it out of blue, for instance, it might have looked like shadows on the train, which would be kind of a cool thing. All right, now look at this. Look at that. I think that looks really nice. Now, so what we're going to do is we're going to put this, once this is on, we're going to put this on, and then we're going to put this on here. Oops, other way. Then we're going to put the train on here, and then we're going to put this onto the card. It's the right size. I've cut it the right size. Leaving this higher, and then when you fold the card, in this case, in most cases you don't fold them this way, but in this case, you're going to fold this part backwards, and it will fit into an envelope. So that way. All right. So, and I'm debating. I would like to be able to use some of this yellow. I'm thinking I could put it here, you know, underneath. I don't know if I want to use this rope. I don't know. Anyway, let's glue this onto the yellow. I could put some, oh, that would have been a mistake. I had the glue bottle lid almost off. That would have been a mistake. Okay, we're gluing that down a bit. Now we're going to put glue on the back here. And I'm going to, you know, put it on the, like where the cardboard is, quite a lot. And then on these skinny little bits, we'll add glue where, you know, where it kind of lands. The Aliens is a tacky glue, so that means that it will stay tacky for a while. But you don't have a huge amount of time. It's not like before it starts to dry. And so you want to get your glue on and get it down so that it can glue. I'm telling you. Oh well, I'm crafting, folks. I haven't been able to craft for a year, and I'm crafting, and I'm happy. I am actually happy. This is, even though it's been a struggle trying to get ready and get going and find my things, and you know, Gary actually found my my stamp press too, which is great, because it means that if I want to use my stamps, if I found stamps, I did eventually find my ink. They're in a drawer over there somewhere, and so they're, you know, pretty easy to get at. Whether they're any good or not is the next question. So whether I can actually use them is another thing, you know, but. Okay, lots of glue. Put that down, sit, stay. And then I'm going to try and get this as even as I can. No, I said as even as I can, not just plop it down wherever you want. All right, over, down a bit. There, okay. Kleenex. There's a box right over on beside me to the right. And I just keep reaching over there for that. And trying to get, you know, just reaching for a new Kleenex because I need it. And I think I got glue wherever I need it to be. And yeah, it looks like, I actually quite like it. I don't know if you do or not, but I do. I actually quite like the way it ended up being. So this is crafting in a motorhome. The hard way. Paper crafting. That looks really nice. I quite like that. Like it? I do. I like it. Yeah. That'll dry and it'll look really nice. Now over here on the card part, as I said, I don't really want to do a, so I could do a zigzag card, but I kind of like the idea of it standing up. But I don't want to do any kind of a sentiment, so that won't be happening. I did find some stamps, but like I say, at the time I couldn't find my ink. So now we're going to put this on here, flip that out of the way, and it's going to fit on the bottom, and that will make it just slightly taller when it stands up. So we want to only glue on this part and not on the back, on that top part, because if you glue it here, of course it's not going to do the way you want. So we're going to put glue here, and I'm not going to bother putting it all over the back. I'm just going to put it around the edge and maybe do a crisscross in the back or something. Just make sure that you got enough glue around the edge. Mine's kind of, now it's deciding to play a little game. No, I don't really want to come out now, so, but there's enough there. Okie dokie. This is going on like this. Kind of line it up. Cover the sides. Cover the back. Cover that. Stand it up and push it down so it does meet with the bottom. Okay? And that makes it so that it's even along the bottom. There we go. Push a little bit. There, look at that. We made a card. We made a card. I do want to put some yellow in here. I just think it would be kind of nice to put some. So I think I'm just going to put a strip along here. I don't know what I'm going to use here. I've been trying to think of something, and I just don't know what I'm going to use at this point. I do have stickers and all sorts of things somewhere, and when I find them, I might do that. So I'm not going to bother finishing and, doing all that stuff. I am going to put this guy along. Basically, I'm going to glue along the edge. Now, when this thing was cut out, this is a Spellbinders, as I told you before. When it cut out of the sheet, the yellow sheet that I did, it doesn't cut the actual edge of your thing. I actually cut the border that I did in this same line because I wanted to. Sorry, I'm lining this up now, so my mouth has to stop working. There, glue. There. So that decorates the inside, and then at some point I'll find words or something to put in it, and then I'll find something to put here that will actually hold it. But it's sitting by itself right now, which I kind of like. I could stack these, but I don't see the point. I'll save that for something else. That'll go on something else. So that was my card. Hopefully you enjoyed me playing around and having fun for a day. I think it turned out really quite nice, all things considered. If I'd had the camera on when all was being done, you would have probably had a good laugh. But here we are, and I know it's a little bit crooked, but that's just the way I see these days. I might see it afterwards, like I just did, but oh well. It is what it is, and I figure at my age, I'm doing pretty good with the eyesight that I have. Once they get the operation done, I should have better vision, especially for seeing close up, because I will have both lenses, both of my eyes will be the same. They will both be seeing the same, so there is that. So I'm looking forward to that too. Anyway, that's it, my friends. That's it. I hope you enjoyed it. You guys have a good day. If you liked the video, please just give it a thumbs up. It cheers me up to see that, And if you want to say hi or tell me what you thought of my card, do so in the comments. All right. Take care of yourselves, and I will talk to you in the next one. Bye for now.